Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy G, waiting for you yet another YouTube video. So, we are going to be talking zombies in this video today, as always. This is your zombie guy here. So, yeah, we just wanna basically talk about all the support that we got recently, how it kind of comes together and what it's trying to accomplish, and of course, the state of zombies and the metagame today. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. So, firstly, Maze of Muertos set gave us 9 new zombies that introduces the Bones Pumpkin support, retrains for the old monsters. So basically, it's a ranks engine that you know supports zombies in a way that it sets up interruptions. It can serve as a kind of a supplementary engine to your other zombie archetypes, Vendors, Shiranuis, Mayakashis, etc. And gives those decks a boost and also can be played in its own right as an individual strategy. So I think that was pretty good. Konami's clearly trying to take zombies in a different direction with that, and I think that's pretty good. So next, Blazing Dominion gave us Reverie and Doom Samuel as 2 new support cards for the level/rank 6 strategy. Reverie serves as an excellent extender in that it discards to special summon itself. And while it's in the graveyard, it serves as utility when an XZ monster is sent to the graveyard, as it can special summon either an XZ or any other zombie you happen to have in the graveyard to the field from the graveyard. So this card is really good as an extender and for utility. Samuel also is good for as an extender, and it has 2 interruption effects. It's being able to detach to special summon a zombie from the graveyard, and you can negate opponent's monster that's less than or equal to the monster you summon off this effect. Really good. And it acts as a quick effect, which means it can be an interruption during your opponent's turn. The other effect reads if this card sent to the graveyard, you can shuffle one monster in your either graveyard back into the deck, so it can interrupt some graveyard plays. And also, let me see, graveyard, target one monster, another graveyard, shuffle the deck. Okay, quick effect, target one zombie. Okay, so it only has 2 effects. I thought it had another one, I'm bugging. But anyway, they both serve as both extenders, interruptions, and utility for the deck as a whole. So these are both also solid support for the deck as a whole. And then lastly, in the most recent Beyond the Brave set, we got Hoblit of the Dark Directory. This was also a level 6 zombie that also supports what we have going on with the Pumpkins, as it can send a level 6 or higher zombie to the graveyard to add 1 level 5 or higher zombie from the graveyard to the hand. So, of course, everything being high levels, the high level aspects of this deck can bolster this effect and be able to get those to your hand. It can actually serve as copies of Pumpking. It can serve as copies of Reverie if you need to extend. Whatever it is you need at the time, this can get to the graveyard so that you can add to the hand and make plays from there. So this card is also a solid card, and its other effect being able to, as a quick effect, being able to XZ summon. Also, as when I talked about this card in my initial video, I thought it didn't add the monster it initially sent off its effect from the graveyard to the hand, but it can do that even if you have no other target in the graveyard to add off this effect. So you can normal summon this, send a Pumpkin to the graveyard, and then add the Pumpkin back from the graveyard to your hand to receive with your Pumpkin 1 card combo. Alright, so this card is essentially a lot better than I thought it was. Definitely adds some much needed oomph to the deck as a whole. Alright, so that's it for all my thoughts on the support. It's really good, and it definitely helps to bring the deck together to be more consistent and doing what it's doing. Alright, as far as everything else I have in the deck, of course, you run your Mizukis as another supplementary situation, just in case you can't. As an additive to other effects that can switch someone from the graveyard, Mizuki also helps in that regard as well. Valkyrian and Unizombie are your tuners. Also Ash Blossom and to a lesser extent, and Veiler. But these are your main tuners to go into your synchro plays, giving the deck more layers than just the XZ and Wing plays. I also want to talk about Doll Hammer as a very good addition to the zombie deck. While it's not a zombie card, it does really bolster the strategy, giving you 2 draws for destroying a zombie on the field. And since zombies fetch someone from the graveyard a lot, you can get this back to your hand with relative ease. So this card is it's a good staple for the deck as a whole. Alright, and as far as other things you can run in the deck, of course you can run your high level zombies. Since you have a Hoblet as a support card now, you can make your high level more consistent, even though you have cards like Unizombie and Shang-Chi that can do that as well. This can also, make it more consistent and being able to do that. Alright, so overall thoughts, it's a fair deck, obviously. Zombies as a whole have always been pretty fair, and its meta implications has always been pretty low because the decks are so far ahead of zombies, and obviously Konami did this intentionally to keep zombies down, as a rogue strategy. They had their meta time like with Lightsworn zombies and Doom King Control and stuff like that. Those had some implications along with Super Poly and stuff like that. But otherwise, Zombies as a whole has always been a fair deck. Nothing really unfair, nothing broken or anything like that about Zombies at all. Alright, so it can't really compete with what we got going on now. I've already seen some of the crazy stuff that decks can pull off. The Light and Darkness Magician stuff being the most crazy that I've kind of seen so far. So, and I played a couple rounds against that deck. It tries, but ultimately the Magician deck has the advantage over this deck. Alright, with that said, also guys, you can chime in. Let me know what you guys think of Zombie as a whole. Do you agree with my assessment? You're welcome to issue your comments in the comments below. Alright, so with that said, let's go ahead and get into the replay. Alright, this is it's going to be playing some games here. I think I'm messing with Cash Share Elements. Alright, so I'm setting up the standard Pumpking play. And Cheese and Army of the Haunted for extending. Reverie to also extend. Go to Great Ghost. Go into Samuel. Call it Unforgotten, except Call it Haunted. With Vortex of Time. Serve as a rush. Alright, here he summoned the Unicorn. I use Samuel here to special summon the Snake here to negate its effect. Because Unicorn hits my extra deck to, banish my extra deck cards face down. I stop the Share Elements field spell play here. He tried to attack here, but of course Snake here also negates its effects. Unable to be used at any extra deck plays, and it can attack as well. So that's why he tried to attack, but couldn't. Color Haunted Oriente, summon Gold One, pops the face down, the field spell, pops the Unicorn. Now I essentially proceed to win here. And then I attack for a game. So So zombies are really good for controlling the board. Like I told you guys, the deck has a lot of interruptions. So if you don't have the cards to kind of play around the zombies interruptions, you can lose a duel just off that alone. All right, next game. This will be against Psychics. I go ahead and add Pumpking. It tries to activate. I hit it with an Empire. Ends his turn there. That kills it. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's another thing that this deck has pretty well. It can play through hand traps pretty well. As long as you have the right cards in hand, you can certainly play through Ashes, Imperms, or Veilers, depending on the situation. So I summon Hublet here. Alright, so I set up, like I told you guys in my discussion, you use Hublet to set up a pumpkin play. So Hublet can essentially be one more copies of Pumpkin depending on what's going on at the time. Now, of course, I set up the Pumpkin one card play. Change Army extensions, and he proceeds to scoop from here. But of course, I was going to go for game. I didn't have enough on board, so of course I would be exing and doing all that good stuff, and I would have attacked for game. Alright, next game. This one is against X-Sabers. Sets up a level 7 synchro play. Sets the Saber hole here to stop my summoning. Saber hole hits me, no problem. I can play past it. Get some draws. This is me just setting up for the next turn. Alright, come here, King here to set up interruptions. Like I told you, the is coming back. Snake here in the gate, pops the field spell. Comes a ghost over, I guess a deterrent for me doing stuff, but didn't really matter to me. Got to draw off the Skull Hammer. Destroyed my unit zombie, no problem. Summons the Gold Finder to call it Haunted. Comes back to the hand. Set up King Ghost. Call it Haunted, I forgot. And he scoops from here. I'm probably just gonna put this back with Grey Ghost, put this back to the extra deck, and then proceed with plays from there. Alright, last three are going to be test hands, just to show you what the types of combos that this deck can pull off. Alright, of course, we got access to the Pumpkin combo here. Using the new Hoblet card to extend its play. Go to Great King Ghost here. Call it Pumpkin, set 2 Call It Haunted. Goes Luki, sends Mizuki. Summons the Mizuki up a Goes Luki. Mizuki summons Armor of the Haunted. Go to Link 3. Mizuki summons. And then we go into Samuel from here. So we got a Link 3. Ghost King and Samuel off the act with multiple interactions here. Of course, you can also go into Undying Legion from here to set up yet another interruption if you so choose. Alright, next test hand. Standard play, but I have a unit zombie here to add some synchroing plays to the combo as well. another important thing. If you send this off a Hublip and then add it back, it doesn't matter. As long as you have a Call of the Haunted face up on the field, you can special summon this from the hand or the graveyard. The Great Ghost here searches for the Call of the Forgotten, searches for the Haunted, then back off a Great Ghost, do a zombie now. Dump Chang-Chi, banish the Chang-Chi. Banish the Reverie, summon the Chang-Chi for another dump to the grave. Stick for level 10. Mizuki brings back the Pumpkin. Go into Samuel from here, and that is the first. That is the test hand. That is the board you would get off of this test hand. Yeah, of course. You have a bunch of late interruptionists here. You can, on your opponent's turn, you can switch summon a zombie from the graveyard. You can call it haunted to switch summon a zombie from the graveyard as well, triggering the field spell to pop one of their cards. You can also use Samuel to detach as a quick effect to switch summon a zombie from the graveyard. If you have any interruptions there, like a snake here or a Goldfawn, you can also pop or negate respectively. Alright, so that is it for that. Last test hand. Well, Snake here is another copy of Pumpking, but I already had Pumpking in the hand. Set up standard Pumpkin plays always. Using Hublip. Get Reverie or extra extending. Mizuki starts from the Snake here. Activate Hublip's other effect to XZ summon. Search off of Great Pumpkin. There we go. That's definitely a good thing about this deck. It can really extend into good plays, and even can play through interruptions if the need arises. As always, depending on what your hand looks like. Alright, so that is all the test hands and games. Let's go back to the deck list here. So here is the deck here. If you guys want another look at it, I'll just scroll through. Alrighty guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion video. As always, you guys can let me know what you guys think of zombies and zombies as a whole in the comments below. And of course, I'll be discussing that with you guys, alright? So I'll leave that at that. So I'll be bringing you guys more videos in the meantime. But until then, peace. Utes.